Stephanie White assigns blame for Fever's third loss without Caitlin Clark's. Stephanie White assigns blame for Fever's third loss without Caitlin Clark originally appeared on Athlon Sports. After winning 2 straight games without Caitlin Clark, Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever saw their fortunes take a turn. White and the Fever were handed their third loss without Clark on Tuesday afternoon, falling to 4-5 on the young 2025 WNBA season with a 77-58 loss to the Atlanta Dream. Natasha Howard led the way for Indiana, tallying 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting and 10 rebounds, her first double-double of the season. However, the Dream's front court of Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones proved to be too much. Griner notched 9 points on 4 of 7 shooting and 4 rebounds, while Jones added 21 points on 9 of 14 shooting and 10 rebounds. They also helped the Dream take full control of the game in the third quarter, outscoring the Fever 23-9. And the 2 Atlanta Stars left their mark on White. After the loss, White addressed the media in her post-game press conference. When asked what went wrong in the third quarter, she said her team lacked physicality in the post. "Their physicality on the defensive end really affected us," White said. "It took us out of what we wanted to do and forced us to rush offensively. They've got really good shifty guards that can get downhill, and we didn't do a good job of guarding our yard or being in rotation." White proceeded to comment on Atlanta's post players. "They've got great post players," White added. "They got Olympians on this roster, right? And our ability to match that physicality on the defensive end, our positioning, our connectedness, I thought wasn't there, and they took advantage of it." White and the Fever will now hope to get Clark back for their next game on Saturday, facing Sabrina Ionescu and the defending champion New York Liberty for the second time this year. This story was originally reported by Athlon Sports on June 11, 2025, where it first appeared. The arena echoed with uncertainty, a vacuum left behind by the absence of a star. On a humid June evening, the Indiana Fever took their third consecutive loss, a blow not just to their record, but to their morale. The crowd had come expecting resilience, perhaps even redemption, but instead were handed silence where fireworks should have been. Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation whose presence had breathed new life into the franchise, was nowhere to be seen on the court, and on the sidelines, Coach Stephanie White wore a face carved from stone. Later that evening, microphones buzzed and reporters leaned forward with the hunger of wolves. That's when Stephanie spoke. "This one's on us," she said, voice steady but eyes stormy. "Not just the players. All of us. This organization. The system. We weren't ready to fill the gaps." And with that, the spotlight shifted, not just to Caitlin Clark's absence, but to the very foundation of a team still learning how to stand on its own 2 feet. Caitlin Clark had been a lightning bolt in a Fever uniform. Her shot was poetry, her court vision prophetic. For weeks, she could dazzle crowds and confounded defenders. But basketball is not a solo performance. It's an ensemble, a chorus of movement and intuition. And without its lead, the song faltered. Stephanie White knew this better than anyone. A former player herself, she'd led teams through storm and shine. But this night, she stood in the center of a tempest of expectation. "I don't want to make excuses," she continued. "Caitlin is an incredible player, but we can't rely on one person to carry the weight of our identity." And yet, how could they not? The team had been built like a house expecting sunlight, big windows, open spaces, but no backup for cloudy days. With Clark sidelined, whether due to injury, rest, or behind-the-scenes drama, those spaces turned cold. The offense sputtered, passes missed timing, and the defense seemed out of rhythm, like dancers unsure of the next move without the right conductor. In the locker room, frustration lingered like the humidity outside. Veteran players stared at stat sheets, some angry, others simply numb. One rookie sat with her head in her hands, whispering, "We weren't ready." Stephanie heard that, and it echoed in her own heart. She blamed herself first. Coaches always should. She had spent practices focused on unlocking Caitlin's potential, building plays around her shot, her instincts. But in doing so, she had unwittingly created dependency, a basketball monoculture. It bloomed beautifully when conditions were right, but one missing element and the entire ecosystem faltered. "We needed to be tougher mentally," she said later to her assistant coach in the hallway. "We need players who know who they are when Caitlin isn't here to define them." But it wasn't just the players. Stephanie glanced at the suits in the upper rows.